Mid-range, and long-term. Solutions can find us working in the margins. Today's world is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by, and it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net, are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in now and listen to Working in the Margins.
Hello, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. This is Shazette with Family Assistance Program. And this is Working in the Margins that you've tuned into on this wonderful, not so hot Thursday. It's been hot, but it's not so hot today.
Amen.
Which is awesome. But it's been a really nice Thursday. And I am your host of the show, and thank you for tuning in. You can watch us here on KCAA TV on YouTube live. It streams live. And you can also find us on the radio, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. We hail from the beautiful offices of Teamsters Local 1932, right here in downtown San Bernardino. Right here.
Hey, now.
Right here.
In the heart of SBC?
Yes,
There
in
you
the
go.
heart. So
Biggest county in the country.
Biggest county in the country. Yes. So lots of wonderful things. I was here a couple of weekends ago, I believe now. I was here. Our I say our congressman. I consider Pete a friend and congressman. He's not my congressman though. But Pete Aguilar was here. He got to meet with a bunch of Democrats and talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the country right now. And it was really, really enlightening. And I really had one point that I really wanted to talk to him about. And we might talk about it today. We might not. I think I might get more information and talk about it next week. But there's a fact out there. And it's bewildering that 310,000 Black women have left the workforce this year so far. There's been 310 layoffs. 310,000 layoffs. But 318,000 actually Black women have left the workforce. And I wanted to know, what are we doing about that? Where are they going? Are we trying to find them? What are we doing to help their families?
Yes.
But the country, that's just a statistic that statistic I'm interested in as a Black woman.
Yes, indeed.
But we should all be interested in it because there's been over 1 million layoffs in this country. 1 million layoffs.
I hear you.
What is the point of creating jobs if we can't keep people working?
I would imagine that a large percentage of that is due to with the grants being pulled at the federal level and this attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes. And it's bewildering. So, but that was great. I got to drop that piece of knowledge in his ear, and he said, I didn't hear it. I haven't heard about that. It was in the jobs report, and I said, well, if you ever want to talk to me about it, I got a wide open, platform. Come on, I'll sit down with you, individually. It doesn't matter to me. And then tonight, I know there's a San Bernardino Council. Democratic Council meeting here. Chris is a part of that. I don't know, are you a Democrat?
I left the Democratic Party about 6 years ago, so more independent. I'm more so Bernie Sanders in that ilk, and with that whole
Democratic.
That's when I left it. Yeah, that's when I left after that whole debacle. We don't have to, we know what it is. So that's what I left.
I know. I share that I'm a progressive. I think, that's where we need to always kind of be. We need to be, looking at, some measures that are probably more for the people.
Definitely.
more taking care of people.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I don't know what that looks like. I've been to all the meetings, Democratic, Conservative, Democratic, Socialist, and I kind of lean in the Democratic Socialist thing, but Bernie Sanders
Definitely,
as well,
that's where my dad was kind of at as well.
Yeah,
He would identify as that.
I just want to make sure we take care of the people, but I do all the fun stuff with the Dems because the Dems have fun, and they've just always been on the right side of history for me with my people and my culture and and things like that. So community, this is the Working in the Margins, the Civic Engagement Causes We Believe in edition. So first, I know I had a few people, not a lot, I had a few people ask me about the purple and the purple hat. So first I want to say, thank you community for tuning in for the last year to Working in the Margins. This show I tell you every week, this show means everything to me because we don't often get tables or platforms to be able to speak from. And being offered this and having supporters and having a sponsor and Mark the GM and Eric Easy E is my engineer.
Easy E, aka E Money.
It's been, they support me. Eric says after every show, great show. And he says it, and I believe him because I'm like, he's never not said that either.
It might be the altitude sickness.
And I tell you people, honestly,
my
like
bad you
10%
don't miss.
of me is like, come on, I'm coming back because Eric said I did a good show.
Hey, man, and you do a great job. You do a great job. I often watch them.
I love being a part of this family, this station, this family. We have some awesome people. Host. We have, if Yanni has his own show, let me introduce my guest. I'm so sorry. I'm just going on and on. Let me introduce my guest. So on my right, I have Mr. Chris Ochoa. Chris Ochoa is city councilman from Atlanta.
From Hesperia, California.
Sorry, I have my city council people mixed up. Hesperia. So he's close. He's right at the top of the hill when you go up to Cajon Pass. Chris is a supporter of Family Assistance Program. We've worked in some close circles. I keep finding out that I'm supposed to know a lot more than I know about him, because every time I say something to somebody about Chris Ochoa, they're like, Chris. And I'm like, okay.
Everybody knows Chris.
Everybody knows Chris. And
we recognize each other in the parking lot.
Exactly. And I'm like, I know he knows our GM, Mark Westwood, because they float around in those same Democratic Central Committee councils and things like that. And I've been out here doing this stuff, so we have a lot of people in common at the Central Committee, friends that I've had throughout the years that I've worked in, that I used to do more in politically. And then on my left, I have Mr. Ibyani Lockhart. Ibyani has been on the show before. I'm really, I've been like softballing him about trying to do a show together. But I think it's going to happen, y'all.
All right.
Y'all going to be seeing more of Ibyani on this show. I'm going to be bringing him in because y'all don't know, Ibyani is everywhere. He's a community organizer in San Bernardino, mainly based out of he does a lot of work in San Bernardino. But everybody knows him. And he's everywhere. I see he does photography, and I see he is racking up shows with a lot of nonprofits for their galas and things like that. So keep doing that, Ibyani Lockhart.
Hey now.
And we're gonna talk to him about what it means to be civically engaged and to be a community organizer. And I'm hoping to sell him on coming on more often to talk about this stuff, because it's really important. Community engagement is where real change begins.
True.
Right? That's where real change begins.
Absolutely.
When did you? How old were you? When did you decide, Chris, that you wanted to be in a public leader?
Well, there's a difference. I think I was asked almost a year ago now. Now I say a few months ago. I was asked right before the election what radicalized you.
Oh, I like that.
And it was in response to in the memory of John Lewis and his passing in the summer of last year. As a matter of fact, it's been a
Good
full
trouble,
year.
good trouble,
Good
y'all.
trouble, and it really was the eulogy of John Lewis by Barack Obama. It was 2020.
Yep. He got a bunch of us.
You know, and it was just a strange time. Much like these times.
Yes.
And we're in an environment now that recalls those times. We're in a good versus evil era again.
That's what it feels like.
And I just remembered Barack Obama saying, "What are you doing?"
Yes.
And I it's funny. I was having this conversation with my fiance last night.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. And it just came up, and we were talking about, our lives and what we do, what drives us, our passion. I shared this story about that, which I'd never shared with her before, and it was that eulogy, and I just remember telling myself, I'm not doing a damn thing.
Right?
I am just going to work, and it's different for everybody, and some people don't have that call to do this, and there's nothing wrong with going to work, living life, doing you, and providing for your family, kids, and doing fun things. It's just there was something inside of me that a light switch came on, and I was in the right place at the right time with everything going on in the world, and Barack spoke right to me.
Yes.
Like I was right there at that ceremony.
Like a pastor on Sunday.
Yeah. I just it hasn't been the same, and my eyes opened in a different way. My mind and my ears opened in a different way. I voted all my life straight blue down the line. Never thought about it. It's like you're part of a football team now.
Right.
I'm much more critical now. I'm much more like you're saying. You what is a progressive? And there's many different shades of being a progressive. Like there's many different shades of being a Democrat, or
Right,
even
or
an
conservative,
independent. Or conservative Republican, or libertarian. There's many different shades to who you are. I lean I lean to the left. I mean, I hope in my lifetime we see a day where we have a single payer healthcare system, where we have college free tuition.
Healthcare is a right.
Healthcare is a human right.
Yep.
Housing
is a human right. And I pray for that day. I'm a believer, so I pray for the day we get to see that.
Me too.
But also prayer is one thing. Faith
without works.
Faith and work. Yep. So faith without works is dead. So you need faith and work. So you need to pray, but you also need to get up and make it happen.
Amen.
And I remember that.
That's gonna be my next tattoo. I think faith without works is dead.
Yep.
Amen.
Because it's absolutely true. And I like what you said, Chris. We're not telling everybody to get out there and get activated. I want you just to be, I want the community to be, I want them to know. Just be aware. Be aware of what's going on. So you know that, they're not out there just making laws random about your kids or your kids' school or your utilities or your, and you don't know. You don't have to get out there and run to every city council meeting and do your 3 minutes and, or your supervisors. You don't have to do that. There's a lot of people that do that already first. But be aware. Ask questions, You don't have to run to city council, but call the utility, say, hey, you know what? This isn't right. So many people they sit back and let things happen to them and they don't investigate.
For me, I'm a little bit different. I'm encouraging everybody to get involved, right? At whatever capacity or role that you can, right? It may not be going to city council, it may not be engaging at that level, but regardless of your political affiliation, I hope in the actions that you take is for the embetterment of all our community, for America, for all the people that are here,
we just
regardless
have to
of
be
status.
Careful right now because people are afraid.
Very true.
I feel like I've been the Bart Simpson in the back going through the
hedges.
through the hedges
Homer.
Homer Simpson. You know, I feel like I've been that way, and I know I'm not alone in that because there's a theory out there, and it's very probable. So if something is kind of probable, and you think about it, I'm a statistics person, so if it's probable, then and there's like proof, then you kind of got to give it some credence. And some folks are waiting for particular people to get activated in order for them to activate violence.
I hear you.
And they look like us.
Thread. On that tip, I think if you don't mind, like a moment of silence for this shooting that took place.
Yes, there was a shooting in Minneapolis yesterday. It was at like a kids' church class school, and some young folks lost their lives, and I believe that the shooter also took their life. And to me, that's just somebody in pain that doesn't know how to express it in healthy ways. And it's terrible that they resort to violence, but we as a country can help, and we haven't as to the ability that we've been able to. So yes, let's take a moment of silence, and when we come back, we're from that moment of silence, we're gonna go to break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about some more civic engagement, y'all.
All right.
Moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Here's the KCAA Community Calendar for the month of September. Riverside's Alonza Library invites you to their Relax and Color event September 3rd from 10 to 5 p.m. Take a break from your routine and savor in the library's cool climate as you relax your mind by coloring the stress away. 951-826-2218. The City of San Bernardino Senior Service presents Grandparent Celebration, Picnic in the Park, September 6th from 12 to 5. Celebrate grandparents with a free lunch, music, crafts, eating contest, and prizes at Paris Hill Senior Center, located on 21st Street in San Bernardino. Free tickets available at eventbrite.com. In honor of Deaf Awareness Month, all are invited to celebrate deaf identity and enjoy the showing of Godzilla vs. Kong, The New Empire. Meet new people and immerse yourself with the ASL community at the Deaf Social and Movie Night, September 17th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at 1425 South Waterman Avenue in San Bernardino. Free tickets available at eventbrite.com. Play pickleball at the Vibe Health and Wellness Festival, September 20th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The community is invited for a day of fun and health-related information at the Gonzalez Community Center in Redlands. Go to vibefestivalofwellness.com. Spooky season is almost upon us as the World of Fantasy Events hosts a Halloween Village 2-day event. Celebrate some favorite strange and unusual Halloween movies, food, trick-or-treating, and more family-friendly activities on September 27th from 4 to 8 p.m. and September 28th from noon to 4 p.m. at the Hillcrest High School in Riverside. Free tickets at eventbrite.com. And that's the latest from the KCAA Community Calendar. I'm Lillian Vasquez on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
This is Milan Vukovic from the Tahibo Tea Club. We just received our first shipment since the new tariffs, and because our tea is harvested deep in the Brazilian rainforest, we have to pay a 50% import tariff just to release it. Once we run out of our current inventory, prices will go up. Right now, you can still stock up at today's pre-tariff prices by calling us at 818-610-8088. 1 pound of original pure Pau d'Arco Tahibo tea is $49.95. Or take advantage of our multi-pack discounts, such as buy 3 pounds, get 1 free. That's a 4-pack discounted 25% for $149.95. Or buy 5 pounds, get 3 free. That's an 8-pack discounted 38% for $249.95. Stock up now. Call us at 818-610-8088 or visit TahiboTeaClub.com. That's 818-610-8088.
KCAA.
Welcome back to San Bernardino Inland Empire. This is Shazette, and you've tuned in to Working in the Margins. We're here at KCAA. We are on the radio at 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. And we're going to continue our good conversation because I don't want anybody to miss anything from this conversation. But you've joined us, and me, Shazette, and my friend. They're my friends now, so I'm going to just call them my friends. Well, has always been a friend.
That's right.
And Chris is kind of a new friend, but me and Chris have a lot of friends in common already. So, and then I forgot, I was talking about my purple hat. So it's my anniversary.
Yeah.
And then for 1 year, we've been doing this in this format. And then starting next week is going to be a little bit different format. You're going to be tuning in at 2 o'clock to Working in the Margins with Z, which is me. Hey. And we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to talk more about civic engagement, leadership in the community. We're going to talk about what it means. I want everybody who feels like they can and that they care enough to run for office. I do. I want you to run for office.
Totally.
I want you, and I'm going to bring on some folks that have run for office like Chris and has won his seat so he can tell us in this community, how he's doing it, why he's doing it, and how he's been able to influence his community at this level. Some people, they don't understand change, and they don't understand that change 90% of the time happens locally.
Yes.
It happens on your street, on your block. It happens in your city. Moving up to, Senate or Assembly or even Congress, it's great that you're able to have a constituent base of that many people. I know I was in state Senate a while ago in state Senate, and we had my boss, the senator. She said we are responsible for 1 million belly buttons. So that's people that we had in our district. That's a lot. That's a lot of people.
Yes, indeed.
And you do what you can at that level. I think that our senators and our assembly folks, they do what they can at that level. But your real actions, your real change happens in your city, as city council.
The way I normally say it is like when we go to these polls to vote, right? You're going to see the impact of your vote at the local level on a daily basis versus whatever happens on the federal level.
Yes.
It takes time for that trickle down for those
really
things to take effect, right? So what you vote on locally at your city and county level, you're going to see the direct impact of that. So it's so important to be engaged, to be knowledgeable, and then speaking towards running for something. It doesn't even have to be elected leadership, city, or
right.
government. It could be a school president, but leadership is what we're speaking towards. We need more leaders.
Influential leadership. A place that you can go in and you can have influence because your opinion matters. Chris, I want you to tell me, Chris, how have you seen, how have you felt, and what have you seen as far as working in your community as a city council member? Do you think that it's any different? Your influence, is it any different than anyone that's not elected? Do they have access like that in your city?
In our city, people can always, like we were saying earlier, please come. I had an email from a constituent who I knocked on their door. In their neighborhood, they have a terrible cross street where it's falling apart, and Hesperia is notorious for its bad roads. So I said, look, take pictures, get them printed. Come and speak. I'm just one voice, but with your voice, you have the ears of 5 council members at that meeting. So that's 10 ears.
Right.
So please come speak. Don't, thank you for your vote. Thank you for reaching out by email and telling me about these issues going on in your neighborhood. But I try to keep an open door policy. I always hand out the number on my city business card is my personal number.
Cell phone number.
Text me,
That's
call
admirable.
me, email me. I want to know.
Yes.
I drive through my district. I drive around the neighborhoods and just to see what's going on. I shop in my city. I shop in where my people shop. I do the best I can to support those local small businesses, to go to, get my hair cut at a local barber,
Right.
Go to the local florist when I want to buy some flowers. It's important that we support our local folks, and that local folks see you. That's part of that access.
Yes.
Yes. I've heard countless times about, not to speak ill about my opponent, but or any of the council members. I don't see any of them in our community. But I think that dynamic has changed.
You're changing it. You're changing it.
So one of the things that we've done in Hesperia recently was launch as a matter of fact, an Obama era initiative, the Healthy America initiative.
Oh, okay.
Where Michelle Obama was.
Yeah, she had the garden at the White House.
She sure did.
I love that. I love that because I'm an urban farmer. So
one of the things that I wanted to do was create, because I work in healthcare, and I wanted to do a public health commission.
Yes.
Well, the reality is we didn't have the resources to get that done in Hesperia.
Right.
When rubber hits the pavement, you need the money to get things going, and if the money's not there, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
So my city staff, in an effort to fulfill my request and at least meet me somewhere,
right?
And not necessarily in the middle, or not, but they combed through what they had, and they found that on the city website, they still hadn't removed the Healthy America, Healthy Hesperia initiative.
Oh, okay.
So it was still there, and then when you looked at the budget, the resources were still there.
Awesome.
Wow.
So we were able to dust off a program that was almost 20 years old.
Whoa.
Wow.
10 years old. 20 years old. 10 years. I'm going all the way back to 22. So a program that was almost over 10 years old, and we were able to relaunch it. It was highly successful during the summer, early summer. We're going to be starting again September 8th. It's called Healthy Hesperia, and on Monday nights we do the Monday Municipal Mile. Come and walk a mile with your council member.
Wow.
Yeah, so our mayor's been out there with me. It's going to cool down, so I'm hoping the other council members get out there now.
Awesome.
Schedules changed. We had some scheduling conflicts, but we had almost 100 individual, unique citizens come out to participate. We averaged about 40 people every event.
Because they want to be in touch. They want that connection.
I think the importance of those kind of events, right, especially if all the council members come, it could start some of those conversations that are needed to humanize one another, right? Because that's what I don't like, is the demonization, the othering, and the hate that seems to be cultivated.
Oh my God. And
We're
then
all
if
here.
you're like at Biani, or we go to San Bernardino. I go to Chino. I live in Chino, but I live in unincorporated Chino, so I don't really have a city council. So I keep up with Chino City Council. Mary Eunice Aloa, she's been there for forever, and Chino is just they're like conservative, but they're just like kind of, we don't really do nothing. But San Bernardino, because I've worked out here for so many years, San Bernardino City Council will be on and popping every.
It needs to be a reality show.
It is so. There's so much going on there, and I love the city, and I have friends on the council, and I love I like what they're trying to do, but I don't like the division of between the council members.
Yes.
I don't like
it
that.
Hurts. We suffer.
It does. We suffer, and it doesn't look good. When people say, you from San Bernardino, and I'm like, the county. I'm like, I'm from the west. Me too. I'm like, I'm from the west side, but I love San Bernardino.
Hey now.
This is where I grew up in there. I came out here like 40 years ago, so there was nothing out here between like Rancho Cucamonga. I lived in Altaloma. I came out here to Altaloma, but there was nothing between there and here, so we got to hang out here a lot. The Carousel Mall. My first little date was at the Carousel Mall.
Hey
when
now,
I was
Central
like,
City Mall for the OGs.
Right? Yeah. So it's but I like that, Chris. You're talking about bringing people together.
Yes.
And I love that. We need to do more of that within our city, our city authorities, our city governments, bring people together. Let's have a walk We're gonna
Yes.
invite people to a walk, Ipiati. We're gonna
Definitely.
take them.
I'm down for that. I walk
we're
every
gonna
day.
invite people from city council. We're gonna
Yeah.
say, let's take a walk
There we go.
and just walk. Back when I was in Senate, the CCAEG, which is it's the community, it's the environmental organization
Yeah.
over there off of Harupa, off the 60.
CCA,
AEJ.
AEJ. Yeah.
They do environmental justice, and they took us on something called. They put together and took us on something called
The toxic tour.
a toxic tour. Yeah. If you've ever been on one, it can change the way you see your city. It can change your life, because once you see it, you can't unsee it.
And on that tip, just right up the hill in Adelanto on that Superfund site, right? Often these sites are the places that they like to build prisons and detention centers on. And the water's bad. You can't build houses and stuff on there, but they allow them to build prisons. It almost dehumanizes the individuals, because each one of us are blessed to be alive, and this lived experience is a gift to us all,
But it's just further proof that sometimes we don't prioritize humanity, human life, human existence over it.
Especially in this country.
know?
It's profit. Let's just call a spade a spade.
It is.
In capitalism, in this country, God, the money is God.
I know.
Profits over people.
Yes, indeed.
Right. And that's why it's like up to you, Chris, locally to have a voice. Do you get a lot of support like from your family and your friends and your job folks in this endeavor with you?
I do. I'm fortunate to have a lot of support from.
You got a fiance, I
my
know.
fiance, family,
Yeah.
friends. No one is in my corner more than my mom and my fiance. Those two women
That's
right there for
awesome.
sure. My daughter doesn't exactly know what I do. She's a little one. She's still, she's just in first grade. So the only thing, when I showed her where I work, she was like, "Oh, so you're like the president?" And I was like,
Right.
"Okay, yeah."
It's always in charge.
The president of District 1 in his area.
and of this house as well.
Right. Because Dad is always in charge and at the top. I know. I thought my dad ran everything.
But I do have a lot of love and support. And what's great is the community has come up to be really supportive. When I was knocking on door, I'm the first Mexican American to sit on the council.
Whoa.
Wow.
And when I was knocking on doors, thank you.
Wow.
I had I knocked on the door of a woman who was undocumented, an elderly woman. She said, "I can't vote for you, but my son, his wife, and 3 of my grandchildren are going to vote for you."
Amen.
And that's that story, right?
Yeah.
That's why
Yes.
people come to this country for the American dream.
That's the American dream.
And
They say that's the American dream.
right. And unknown to me, I mean, not to say that I'm not in touch with my Latino community. It's just I didn't realize how fast word spread about me in the community, because I'm an unknown. I mean, not to say I'm just a healthcare worker, but all I do in our community is healthcare work as a community health worker.
Right.
So I work in the community, but as a servant in the capacity of I don't walk around,
Right.
you're a community healthcare worker for this
Right.
region, so it was a shock to me that just by putting up a handful of signs, that word spread so quickly.
Well, they say good news travels fast.
Good news travels
Good
fast.
news travels fast,
It
indeed.
does.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And
so
people are
huge
looking-
community support.
People are looking for people that they can relate to,
Yes.
and people that have some type of knowledge of a lived experience. Now, it may not have been you, but if you are bold and brave and you say, yes, I am a Mexican American and my heritage is Mexican, and people are going to want to, they'll trust you, because they know that your culture has raised you in this work, and that we need that voice. You are their voice, whether documented or undocumented. You are a voice of your culture in your community, because it's as sad as that made me kind of sad that you're the first
It's amazing.
Anywhere, it still amazes me.
In 2025.
In
we still have these
2025.
conversations, you know, it's amazing.
In a city of 62,000 Latinos.
Exactly, right?
That is amazing.
Out of
I don't
110,000 people.
I don't
I hear you.
understand. So
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
wow. So 62,000 out of
62%,
100,000.
Yeah.
That's
And
but hey, better late than never.
And that speaks towards the importance of what we were speaking about earlier, about the importance of engaging, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we need everyone's ethnicity and cultures and lived experiences to be at the table. Because
Yes.
we're all here, and together is the only way we're going to make our community better, by working together
I
as
know.
humanity.
And we
you know?
can't, we have to hear from everybody, right? We have to. I have to hear from the Mexican community, the Black community, the marginalized communities. Most of our folks belong in those marginalized communities. But I also want to hear from our abolitionists, our folks that, you know, our partners, our allies that want to come forth and help us, you know, advocate for better conditions, better wages for women, you know, stay out of our stay out of our business, personal private business. What about our personal private sales? And talk about paying us equally
Yes.
to do the same work or more. You know, how about that?
Hey now.
You
Hey
know,
now.
there's so many, you know, I have so many friends of all persuasions. It doesn't
Yes,
matter, you know, and I have folks that advocate and consider themselves, you know, they say, I'm an abolitionist, or I would have been an abolitionist, you know, and I feel like we're all still have to be abolitionists because we're still fighting for rights that aren't.
Definitely. That are
And they're trying to take
repealed.
them. They're trying to take them away.
They
you
are,
know.
as we
Definitely.
speak.
Exactly. You know.
And if that term scares someone, you have to be proactive. You have to be engaged. right?
Yes.
That's another way of saying it. Because certain terminology people are fearful of,
Yeah.
or have been programmed to believe that this is an evil thing.
Oh, no.
But no, it's about tearing down systems that are not
Yes.
serving the benefit of the community.
Yes, it is it is. I think you should have pride when you can, if you consider yourself an abolitionist.
Totally.
You know that you're fighting for the rights of human beings and people and families, and you know. And thank you, Ipiani, because that's true. That's what it means to be one,
Yeah.
to be an abolitionist. You are the ultimate advocate of humanity and human lives. you
Amen.
know. So, I'm like, I had a whole bunch of questions. I told y'all. I told you. I says, I'm going to send y'all those questions. But I was like, Chris, don't worry about it because we're going to get to about 2 or 3. But I do want to ask you, Chris, about this. Can you share an example of a time that you changed your stance on a policy based on community feedback?
Based on community feedback.
Maybe you felt a certain
Ooh,
way,
there's
but
been a-
people started talking to you and you're like, okay, now maybe I need to.
There's been a handful of times, just in the last, how many months is it now? 9? About
Goes by
9
quick,
months.
huh?
Yeah, it goes by quick. I'm 9 months into my term. I think that the first time was dealing with an HOA that we have going up in Hesperia. It's the Silverwood Project. There's been a lot of pros and cons back and forth. You have your environmentalists out there, you know, that don't want to see our beautiful desert touched at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
Then you have those that want to see building
Development.
and development everywhere,
houses,
and we need
Yeah.
housing and we need jobs.
Right.
But this particular, I've always had a bad taste in my mouth about HOAs. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Progressive Democrat all the way down to my heart. But when being a political in a nonpartisan seat is a bad mix. You have to switch it off, know your community, address the concerns as they come, and with the facts. And the facts is this development is going to be open to the rest of the city. So the parks that they're building, the schools that they're building are going to be open to the entire community of Hesperia, the city of Hesperia. So people that want to come and enjoy this beautiful place can, which will be state-of-the-art, pristine. They're going to have community events there.
Right.
And I'm all for all of that. So that was one plus. Second plus was that they're going to allow their citizens to be voting members of the city. A lot of HOAs are not. They're
Okay.
cut out. They're and they're part of what you call unincorporated areas. So that was a plus for me as well.
That's good.
And what I saw, what they were doing, and the people they were putting to work, and that they were incorporating union workers. I said, you know what?
Good trade agreements.
I'm going to change my opinion on this. You know, I went to go speak with the developers. I saw the work that they were doing. I toured it with my planning commissioner, who when I appointed him, I was very adamant of appointing a union leader to advocate and be there, keep eyes, and because you know, when you're a council member, you can't see everything.
Right, can't be everywhere.
And when you're a junior council member, you don't know everything.
Right.
So you know, I wanted seasoned eyes and ears.
Sometimes people don't want to share knowledge because they're like, let them find out.
Yeah, exactly, that part.
Yeah.
So definitely, and that was one of the first things I changed my mind. I was probably one of their first no votes. You could hear a pin drop in the room when I voted no on that project. But since then, my votes have been yes. I've got to learn the project. I've toured the project. I've spoken with the program managers of that project. Again, my planning commissioner is there. Doesn't live very far from that site either. Right. So he sees it every day. So I've had an opinion change, and that's one of the first times. I could tell you recently with our animal shelter, it gets a lot of negative feedback. You know, and you, of course, when you're campaigning, you want the ears of people that have something to say. Right. You want to hear them out, so it becomes something that you mold in. But now that I'm on the other side of the veil, that's another thing. You know, I can continue to lean into what people think and the accusations they're making, or I can go by the facts.
Definitely. Yes.
You know, and the reality is sometimes what people want is not.
It's best for them, but not best for everybody.
It's not best for the whole community.
Right.
You know, and I get that. There was a quote. It's from believe it or not, I believe a medieval pope, and he wrote a letter to a king, and in that letter he's asking him, do what's best for the public weal, not the public will.
Right.
So sometimes you have people yelling and screaming.
Yes.
About what they think is right, but ultimately you have to do what's best for everyone.
Right.
And that is a hard decision to make. Sometimes you're the most popular guy in the room, and sometimes you walk out hated.
Yeah.
Most recently, just because I was painted very starkly as being a progressive Democrat, I think the mailers went out to people's homes saying I was a danger to the community.
Wow.
Because I was a socialist.
Which is not a bad thing. Care about everybody in the community.
Yes, exactly.
How they demonize these terminologies.
I know.
You know, so exactly. So
I'm like, look it up, man. Look it up.
So, you know, that caught me off guard. I never once described myself as a socialist. Like I said earlier, you know, I've been a bleeding blue Democrat my whole life. So, and I still describe myself as a Democrat, a FDR Democrat, if anything. And I just remember going, why would they say that? It doesn't make They use pictures of rallies, first of all, that weren't even socialist rallies. I hear you. They were from Black Lives Matter movements in Los Angeles. I was like, I wasn't even there. They couldn't even have a picture of me. I was like, okay. Yeah. Anyways, I get off topic.
That's okay, but I wish people would do their research more and to understand what it means to be.
Knowledge is power.
Right.
Yes,
and I use conservative and liberal and then progressive terms because I think that they cross across like all, you know, all venues, like all people. You know, independence is like, I like, you know, because the red and the blue is what gets us caught up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you say that, because one of the issues and I say all of that to say this, is that the issue that, you know, where I leaned into public opinion was a nonpartisan issue that had red and blue folks that I knew. You know who's who. They don't, you know, in Hesperia, no one is shy about telling you that whether they're a Trump supporter or not. That is one thing in our community up there is people talk openly about politics. And we had people in the gallery that I knew were Republicans and I knew were Democrats. But one thing that brought them together recently was a pallet yard issue. These pallet yards can
catch on fire,
and they can be a danger. I did not have a real opinion because I was uneducated in the matter. I had to research it. But like anything else, you see state-of-the-art pallet container buildings that are more equipped to handle it. Then you see the one like when you're driving down the 210 where they're stacked up over the fence.
Yes.
And you're like, I remember driving. I just drove by and I think to myself, if it's windy, how do they keep them from falling? I hear you. But it was an issue in Hesperia. The community came out deep, and after hearing the community out and their concerns, and hearing out the representatives that came from different pallet yard businesses, I sided with the public opinion on that from the dais because it made sense. Yes. Would I want this in my neighborhood?
Right.
Just because my neighborhood is not set up that in that particular way where there's enough space to put a pallet yard. If there were, I wouldn't want it there.
Definitely. I would like to chime in real quick because I know we're coming down to the last 5 minutes.
I've been listening. And I'm just, Eric. I'm not going to take another break. We're just going to go to the end.
Thank you, sister.
But Ibiani, so what you getting ready to say? I want you to also think about how do we get more people out to like council and to give their opinions and to. How do we get more people?
I'll answer that in a second, but I really like your first question that you sent me. And it was about what am I seeing as far as urgent need for our marginalized communities. Right now with the current situation of our nation and in this state with these ICE raids, we know that there's a huge food insecurity throughout San Bernardino County and Riverside County, right?
Yes.
One of your questions was how are we going to address that item? Right. We're currently in partnership with the Universalist Unitarian Church, my day job, Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity, and I'm reaching out to a few other potential partners. We're going to be having a food drive on Sunday, October 19th. To address those food insecurities, as well as a letter writing.
Who's your partner on this?
Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside and Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity.
Okay.
And then we're also going to do write letters of support and encouragement to those that are kind of in prison, where people are not leaving their homes because of what's currently happening. And a lot of people are expressing concern, especially immigrant right organizations, about October when the funding is coming down the stream. So what you're seeing now, you might see that escalated times 10, right?
Right.
So that's one thing that we're doing to address that. To answer your question, how can we encourage people to get involved? It's identifying those issues that are collectively affect that community, right?
Yeah.
And building support around that. Often you have to let people know and help them understand that their voice and their story is of worth, because so often people disqualify themselves and think that they have no value. Each of us are priceless and irreplaceable.
Yes.
And our lived experience is very valuable. So a lot of times it's building up leadership.
I can't tell your story. You can't tell my story. I can't tell Chris's story, right?
Word up. So just letting them know that their voice matters, that their engagement matters.
You're doing a lot, because I know you're working with this food insecurity. And that's really, really important, y'all. Y'all don't, people, I try, I think for this last year, I just try and encourage people to read, find something that you trust, news that you trust, and read, and stay aware, stay in touch, because we have had so many, people don't know, we've had so many, because we have food sitting at our border, on the water, on the boats, on the ships.
In other nations as well.
In other places.
And they're choosing to destroy the food instead of distribute it and address hungry human life.
Exactly.
And it's disturbing. One thing I want to uplift, because I know we're getting close to the end, on Saturday, September 20th, in collaboration with Inland Communities Fellowship of Reconciliation, the Human Migration Institute, as well as Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity, we are doing a celebration on the International Day of Peace at the Arlington Library in Riverside from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you want to see peace throughout this world, because there's many of genocides happening right now upon the
Yes.
continent of Africa, right?
Yes.
There's food insecurities, famines happening
Yes.
throughout the world. And we're really calling for peace amongst the
Right.
world, not to kill and destroy one another. This
Right.
gift of life is a blessing to us all.
It is, and thank you so much for that. I also want to highlight, Chris is a part of an event that's coming up in October. It's October 4th, and so that's also our day of our family assistance gala. So you're gonna be busy. You gotta work shit out.
Oh, I know. Daughter's birthday.
You're gonna have to make some decisions. But
I know.
There's an anti-hate
first.
coalition forum. It's called Stop the Hate. We Stand Up Against Fascism, and it's the Desert Democracy Project, and it's guest speakers are going to be Juan Carrillos, Stephen Morrell, Leslie Irving, some folks from the High Desert, and Chris is working with them, partnering with them to help get the word out also. And that's the Desert Democracy Project. And remember, community, I will post all of my resources to my hashtag Working in the Margins with Z, hashtag Working in the Margins with Z. I also wanted to highlight, because Ibiani is a part of this too, and this isn't really, really important, but it's Let's Talk About Youth Mental Health and Wellness, and it's 100 Black men, and it's September 6th from 10 to 12. And this is particularly timely for our young Black men, for middle school and high school students, to learn about some coping skills and strategies to
indeed.
get through this time now. So
Definitely.
and another reason I'm wearing my purple hat is because when I leave here, I am on my way to a fundraiser
All right.
at Hamburger Mary's over in Ontario. Join me
All right.
and my team at Family Assistance. We're raising money. We're playing drag bingo.
Drag
Okay,
bingo.
so I thought I'd dress up for the occasion because
Hey, now.
it's my first time.
There you go.
So
There you
we
go.
will be there tonight at 6:30 at Hamburger Mary's. It's $25 buy-in.
All right.
Come on and have a good time with Family Assistance Program and help us raise some much-needed funding for our human trafficking and our reentry programs here in San Bernardino.
I wish I could be there.
Oh, I wish everybody will come.
Don't say
Thank
no to a
you,
hamburger.
community.
You're not alone in that regard.
Right. Thank you, community. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Ibiani, for making this anniversary show. But I'm not
for
going
having us.
nowhere.
Absolutely.
I'll be back next week, working in the margins with Z.
Hey,
2
now.
o'clock next Thursday. Tune in. Have a good weekend. Happy Labor Day weekend. Enjoy
Labor Day,
everyone.
yourself.
Thank you. Thank you
Shout
for
out
having
to
me.
Easy, Easy
Yes.
Money.
Eric,
Free
have a
that
good
progression.
weekend.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you again.
KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 19, protecting the future of working families.